right.
Oh, yep.
Nope, not yet. Start soon. I don't know what's going on. I think it's recording. Anyway, all right, back. Episode 2. We haven't even played a game, and we've gotten our second episode of the year.
Yeah, get Hurley off our back. We have played
Right.
0 games, and we got 2 podcasts out, and he wants
2
more
episodes.
content. I mean, what do you expect from us?
Okay, so I will say this. I'll give Hurley some credit because we both know come like mid-October, there's a very big chance the podcast just like disappears when the basketball season starts.
That's fair.
So appreciate the love, Hurley. Get all of us that you can get because in October, this really becomes not a thing very quickly.
That's true.
Episode 2, Champ and the Chump, back online. Our producer left us. I think he's running an Instagram page, I think. We'll see.
He's following every NFL player in the league to see who follows him back. Stephon Diggs,
all right, so
Micah Parsons, and all the key guys.
I'm all in for the Instagram page. I think having it private is probably a smart decision.
Yeah.
But there are some subtle shots that we need to talk about that Mike put in the Instagram page. Subtle shot number 1. The name of the Instagram is the A-League, like it's something wild like that. So like shot number 1.
Just to make sure any other league that tries to make one knows they're not
Yeah.
the A-League.
Yeah, like they're not the A-League. They have to he made sure they have to put the B-League or like something completely different. Like they can't just be the league. Love it, Mike. Shot number 1. Shot number 2, the bio says UT Dallas's premier fantasy football league, which is incredible because I think anytime you use the word premier correctly in a sentence, it just elevates what you're talking about. So I think we might need like a new belt. Like I think in wrestling, when you start changing names, they like give new belts and stuff like that.
It's almost like he's a pro at this.
Yeah, like it's almost like he does social media. It's wild. All right. Back at it again. He's the champ. I'm the chump. Yeah, man. So it's been what, about a week and a half.
Yeah.
All right. So we've cleared the draft a little bit. Everybody gets real emotional right around the draft. You get there's like 2 schools, right? Like you're either overly defensive of your team and why you made picks, or you're like, I hate what I just did. There's never any like smooth sailing down the middle.
Everybody has an opinion on their team.
Everybody has an opinion, and it's like always overly irrational. How do you feel about the team that you drafted?
I don't feel great, to be honest with you. I think honestly, most years I come out of the draft and I feel pretty good. I feel like I got the guys I wanted. I feel like I did a good job. This year, things got out of control. The numbers got a little crazy at the running back spot.
Yeah.
I jumped in quick with Mahomes and Cup, like the first 5 guys. I had 2 dudes, and that took me out of the game for all the running backs. And I was hoping that I could get the right ones to fall. But you look at my RB1 is Eli Mitchell, okay? I think he's a solid RB2, maybe 3.
Yeah, you were hoping for that too. You reached for that too.
My other running backs are Cordell Patterson, Devin Singletary, James Cook. That's a timeshare waiting to happen. And Kenneth Walker, who's got a hernia we've never actually seen play NFL football. So I don't like that at all. My receivers are good. I like my quarterbacks. My tight end is Pat Freiermuth. Who knows what that is?
That's a quarterback situation that, geez.
I just don't feel like I typically have as big of a hole as I do at the running back position, really 1 and 2. If Eli Mitchell's my 2, I feel okay about it.
Yeah.
But he's my 1, and my 2 is not. My 2 needs to be about 4.
Yeah.
And it's a bigger hole than I would like to have. And I think I'm okay, but I need some things to go my way. I need some waiver wire or for Kenneth Walker to win the job, be really good, or something to happen at my running back spot for me to be, at the top of the league, I think, right now. So I don't feel like I plugged all the things that I needed to plug in.
Yeah, I mean, and I will second that because I think you got 2 of the top 5. I think I got the other 2 of the top 5, the first 5.
Yeah, we came out swinging.
We came out swinging, and I did put it on tape that I was going like 130 or whatever I said for Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. Didn't quite get there. I did go like 70 for Herbert and Keenan Allen. mean, it's not a bad like consolation prize, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I feel the exact same way. I love my quarterbacks. I think Josh Allen and Herbert are, they're the future, right? Like they're the next two big guys. And then getting Keenan Allen and Scary Terry. I think I filled my wide receiver 1 and 2 really well, like for not using a whole lot of money. And then I'm looking at James Conner and Edwards-Helaire and Miles Sanders. And I'm just like hoping Breece Hall wins the job. Like that's literally the only hope I have of saving my running back core.
You're watching those games when they get to the 3 and you're going, please give it to Conner and fall in the end zone. Please give it to Edwards.
I'm literally hoping
you're not getting 100-yard games and huge monster moments.
My entire season is banking on the fact that Rondale Moore can hold on long enough for DeAndre Hopkins to come back and be a factor.
Mm-hmm.
But like that Rondale Moore only plays well enough to get to the 2-yard line because I need James Conner to get the 6. Like I need Rondale Moore to get like 4 catches for 96 yards because he got stopped at the 2 4 times. And James Conner ran it in those 4 times. Like I need to get both ends of that deal. And like, it's just not possible. So I feel very much the same. I don't love what I did. I don't hate it, but like, there's obviously big holes in my team that I'm not sure I can overcome at least until DeAndre Hopkins gets back. And then those holes are a little bit less.
Because when Hopkins is back, the rest of the Cardinals pass catchers don't matter as much because he's the one. Even when
he's the one. It's clear when he was on the field last year, Kyler knew he was the one.
But you don't know with Moore. Is it Hollywood, AJ Green, Moore? Where does Ertz come in? You're hoping Moore's the 2 and not the 4 of that group. But you know what Hopkins is when Hopkins is back.
For sure. The interesting thing, too, is AJ's old. Hollywood is fast. Rondale is kind of the mix between them, right? Like he's the best combination of route running and speed. There's a high chance he could be the 1. There's a high chance he could be the 4 or the 5. And you're just like, what in the world?
And you're screaming at the TV to throw the ball to Rondale Moore once in a while.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think I'm going with him this week. If you had to ask me right now, he's in my starting lineup. And it's only because they're playing Kansas City. And I think it's a shootout. It has nothing to do with Rondale Moore. It literally has everything to do with that game's going to get to like 35-33. And I'm hoping he's a part of why that game got to 35-30.
You're going to be real sad watching that game. And McCole Hardman's like catching like 80-yard touchdown bombs while he sits on your bench. And
yeah, because he's on my bench. Yeah.
And Rondale Moore's over there hanging out.
Yeah, I might just have to go with Breece Hall and just say, fuck it, I'm going to lose with both of the receivers. At least I didn't have to choose. So we both kind of talked about it, right? We both came out swinging. I don't know. I mentioned that I would do it. I didn't. I wanted Allen. I'll tell you that. I don't know if I really knew what I wanted to do after that. What was your strategy going into the draft, and how well do you think you executed it?
Yeah, my strategy was to get one top 6 quarterback. And I guess you could say top 7 with Hurts, but Hurts was not the guy I wanted. And no offense to Barnes, got him. I'm sure he'll put up good numbers. I just don't like watching him play. I don't think he can throw. Fuck the Eagles. Like I don't.
Yeah, you're a Cowboys fan. Let's be real honest.
Jalen Hurts play.
Yeah, you're a Cowboys fan. Let's be honest.
I didn't want to be pulling for Jalen Hurts to score touchdowns. So he's not one of the guys I want. So I wanted top 6. I got Mahomes. I was happy with that. I got him for cheaper than the other top 6 for the most part. So I felt good about that. And I wanted one more quarterback in that top like 10 to 13 range. I didn't want to back into. I wanted a high into. I think I got that in Stafford. From there, I wanted one high-end skill player. I didn't care if that was a running back or receiver. I thought I could build from there. And I got Kupp, so I was happy with that. But I think that I overestimated a little bit. I thought I could get a running back. I thought I could get an RB2 for 35, and it was going to cost me more. Or it was more than I wanted to pay. I didn't get one of those. So I did is I pivoted, right? Once I realized I wasn't going to get the running backs I wanted, I pivoted and I got it. A.J. Brown, I got Cordell Sutton, and and I got a Amon-Ra St. Brown. So I pivoted and went heavy receivers. I thought the value was there.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like my receivers. I like my quarterbacks. I think I have a good floor with those guys. But I did not anticipate not getting a top, 15 running back at a minimum. Maybe a top 20 running back with kind of where you rank Mitchell. But I wanted a top 15 back. I did not get him. So that's probably the one piece I did not get. I didn't think I'd get a tight end. I like the top tight ends. I think it's a good strategy. But I just thought you can't get a top-level skill player with Cup, 2 top-end quarterbacks, and get a top tight end and have any money left for anything else. So I just didn't think I was going to get one. I didn't get one. So, but yeah, so I think the strategy I did was I executed for the most part, but I just underestimated what I needed to do at running back, and I left that too thin. So see how it plays out. What about you?
Yeah, and same way. I think I went in knowing I fully believe Scott Rogers had the right strategy last year. I think he got hit with some injuries, and then Kyler didn't play as well when he got back, and that kind of derailed everything. But the thought process to me is right. I think in this kind of a league, the 2 top-end quarterbacks is the way to go. And I agree with you. I don't think it necessarily needs to be 2 of the top 5, but I think you need to have 2 of the top 12 to 13.
It's wherever that line is you think are starting level. Like I got Stafford.
2
I don't know where
QB1.
he is in that top 12 to 13 or whatever, but he's a starting level quarterback. Dak is a starting level quarterback. There's a good number, but once you get into the to be honest with you, just hopes, the Trevor Lawrences, the Justin Fields, those guys, you're hoping they could be good, but we haven't seen them be good. We've seen them be bad. We're hoping, and those are the guys that you don't know about. I didn't want to delve into I hope I picked the right one from 15 to 20 that hits this year. I want the guy in Stafford that if Stafford has a down year, I think the floor is still really high. He's got Kupp, he's got Robinson, he's got Higbee, he's got Van Jefferson, he's got running backs that can catch the ball.
And the offense is built for him to throw the ball. They're going to throw the ball.
He's going to be a top 10, 12 quarterback, That's what I wanted. I wanted a guy that I thought, no doubt, he's a starting quarterback. He's in my lineup. I have no questions about it. Rather than saying, man, I hope that, maybe the Bears will get down and he won't get sacked 12 times this week and he'll get a 70 yards on the ground and a touchdown. You're hoping versus, I think a little more security there, I guess.
Yeah, and I agree. I think quarterback's a little bit easier to predict, right? Like you can kind of, and I think that's what I went with is the fact that Josh Allen is going to be good. He may not be the best quarterback, but he's going to be one of the best quarterbacks.
High
Justin Herbert
and high ceiling.
Exactly. Justin Herbert is going to be good, right?
His bad weeks, he's still putting up 15, not 4.
Exactly. Matt Stafford is still going to be good. He may not be great, but if a down week, your super flex is putting up 15 to 20, you give yourself a chance, right? Yeah. So my thought was, and I think this is some hangover from last year for me, because I started so bad, and then when I made the trade, it ended up with both Stafford and Herbert. I realized I always had a chance because I'm pulling 50 on a normal week between 2 positions. Yeah. To me, that was always the way I was going to go. I don't think I overpaid because somebody was bidding with me. So it's not like I overpaid for Allen and Herbert. I think that's the money range. Allen is the number 1 quarterback on everybody's board. I think that's the money range about where they went. It is what it is. I will say, what'd you pay for Stafford?
Right at 30, maybe.
Yeah. So there's a part of me that says,
find it
somewhere. Should you have saved $20 on
29
QB 3, 4, and 5 and got QB 9 through 13, and then you would have had $20 to go get that running back like we were talking about. There's part of me that thinks like that.
But then
only because there's a hole at running back because running back didn't fall the way I wanted to, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And honestly, I got James Conner. I have a RB1/2 if he falls into the end zone another 15 times, right?
Yeah,
He's
sure.
been an RB1 2 or 3 times in his career. Like, so it's not like I don't have a potential RB1, but you kind of think like, dang, could I put $20 on more to go and bid on a Kamara, a Dalvin Cook, one of those guys that went a little bit lower, I kind of think like that. So
I think what's interesting with the draft, and this is why I'm glad we went auction. And for one, now we've done this 2 years draft, obviously 1 year league. I love the auction and I love the 2 quarterback action because I think the strategies are so much more real. Everybody has a real strategy and you can see it play out. I think it's so interesting. You've got Flossie Dossie, okay? He's got Lamar and Kyler. That's unbelievable. But he's also got Zeke and Penny at running back. His wide receiver 3 is Chase Claypool. His flex right now in his lineup, we'll see if he sticks with it, is Zach Ertz, right? That's
he's
not
double tight end.
Yeah, he's got Darren Waller at tight end still.
Who has it? Did he finally practice?
Yeah, I don't know.
You're just hoping for the best. You just said yes, hoping for reason's sake, because he wore the jersey to the draft and everything. Darren Waller practice.
So you got that strategy, and then you got the complete opposite, which is what Jordan and Wells did. And if you look at those 2 teams, they're really good. Then you get to the 2 quarterback spots, the flex, the super flex, and the quarterback, and you go, ugh. Like, are you winning the league with Daniel Jones and Carson Wentz and Mac Jones? Like you don't like that. But the rest of it's really good. So the different strategies I think are really interesting. You look at Daniel Jones. He's a 29-point week, 26, but he also last year has a 4, an 8, a 7, a 4.
Well, that sounds like Davis Mills on my team, boy. Good.
Exactly. And that's his QB1.
That's
his
wild.
QB2, Carson Wentz puts up some 7s and some 6s and some 11s and some 17s.
Here's the other interesting thing about Jordan's team, right? Is you decided to forego quarterback, which we both have agreed we had no intention of doing.
Yep.
And you basically do that with the thought that you're spending big money for McCaffrey.
Mm.
And if anybody's best player gets hurt, it's a scramble.
Sure.
But not everybody's best player has missed 20 games in the last 3 years or whatever it is with McCaffrey.
Yeah.
So there are things like that. So where I look at Jordan, I don't want to see Jordan in week 8 if McCaffrey's rolling. I don't.
Well, I play week 1 when McCaffrey is obviously healthy. And it scares me.
But if I see Jordan week 8 and I'm like, yeah, McCaffrey's got a hamstring again, I don't worry about this team because the floor is so low. If Leonard Fournette is still 362 pounds, looking like Mark Henry or whatever they said he was when he came into training camp, you get what I'm saying, though? I think his team is good week 1, but without the floor of the quarterback, you put a lot more pressure on those players being good. You know what I mean?
And I think Wells is in the same boat as far as that goes. If the quarterbacks hit, I love Wells' team too. Aaron Jones, Montgomery, I don't like, but the RB2, Jamar Chase, Moore, Davis, Kelsey, AJ Dillon. But then you got Jameis, and they've already talked about, using Taysom Hill as a gadget guy around the goal line. How many touchdowns is Jameis getting if Taysom Hill is throwing jump passes?
They're for sure using him. They're not getting Jameis hurt. They have their season banks on Jameis playing 16 games.
And 17. Who knows where Baker is, right? I mean, that's kind of what we go back to with the roll of the dice quarterbacks. I didn't want roll of the dice quarterbacks, because the fact is all these guys in the back end won't be good. That's why they're back end quarterbacks.
Right.
That's why they're a first round pick quarterbacks every year, because some of these dudes aren't good, in between the Daniel Joneses and the Wentzes and the Goffs and the Winstons and the Jared Goffs and the other guys there, that back end, some of those guys are going to be bad this year and they're going to get replaced because we know that. That's how it works. And I didn't want that issue.
All right, so to stick to that point, do you think that without that guy, and we're staying on Wells and Jordan because they were the ones that waited way longer than everybody else to go get a guy.
Most people got at least one QB1 type. Like Scott Rogers' QB2 is Marcus Mariota, who is not terrible as long as he's starting, which might be 3 weeks, but we'll see.
But he's on the same wave as Jameis and Baker and Davis Mills
but he got Dak Prescott as number 1. We know Dak's going to start at quarterback.
Right.
I mean, health obviously warranted every game for the Cowboys. There is no question.
Right.
So he got one good quarterback and rolled the dice with the second, which not what I want to do, but I'm okay with that. It's the roll the dice on both your quarterback spots that can really, I think, derail you, regardless of what your rest of your team looks like.
So I would agree with you normally, but I'm looking at Wells' team. And I fucking don't want to play them. So is there, once again, you and I clearly didn't do it. We didn't have any intention to do it. But I look at Wells' team and I look at Jamar Chase and Kelsey and DJ Moore and Gabe Davis and the combination of Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon, because he has the RB1 out of there somewhere.
Yep.
And did he make up enough floor with his other guys that he can overcome the quarterback?
Of the two teams there, and this is a little sneak peek. I've got a power rankings ready to drop tomorrow that we're going to drop before the first game. I've got Wells. The higher of those two teams that waited on quarterback. And the truth is if Jameis has a good week and Baker has a good week, his team is
he's unbeatable.
Good.
He's unbeatable. If
Jameis has 8 and Baker has 7,
yes, I agree with that.
Then it's a problem. But the good weeks he has, he should win those weeks.
I agree with that.
I'd say Jordan's the same way. If the quarterbacks play well, he should win.
I agree with that. I think Wells has far more error in his quarterbacks because his skill players are just better. He has Jamar Chase, who could end up as the wide receiver 1 overall, depending on how much Cincinnati throws the ball. He's got Kelsey, who could end up as the tight end, overall number 1 tight end, because he normally is. Like, he's Travis Kelsey.
Yeah, I'd put money down him being that.
I wanted Gabe Davis really bad having Josh Allen, just because towards the end of the year he kind of figured it out a little bit, right? His floor with his skill players is higher. I agree. He probably only needs 30 to 40 combined out of his quarterbacks.
I agree with that. Yeah.
To win 9 times out of 10. I agree. The issue is, can they get you 15 to 20 apiece?
Yeah.
Right. And I
both
think
of them, in one week,
both of them in the same week. Yeah.
In the same week, will they both do that? Yeah. You get 18 out of Jameis and 4 out of Baker. It's only 22. You know what I mean?
I will say this.
Kind of average 15.
Yeah, I will say this. I think Wells wins some money. Like, I think weekly.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
He wins some money because there are going to be 3 or 4 weeks when
Jameis
the combination
has
of Trubisky and Winston and Mayfield, the 2 that he plays well.
Yeah.
And I think when that happens and Jamar Chase goes crazy and Kelsey goes crazy and Gabe Davis has 2 touchdowns, like, I think the rest of his team just kind of follows in suit.
Yeah.
I agree. There's also going to be 3 or 4 weeks where, like, he gets 12 points combined out of his quarterbacks and he loses a week that he shouldn't have lost.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
and when we saw this last year, right? We saw this, play out in that first year, like you talked about when you're always scrambling at QB2, when you get to that point where teams are bad and their line's bad and they're 2-8 and they change quarterbacks or their line runs through it or they just kind of lose general motivation, those can become some trying times when you're finding quarterback points,
For sure.
So, all All right. Well,
So-
you want to go some week one previews here?
Yeah, let's do the previews, man. So we got on mine, because obviously I'm going to pull up first. We got me and Andy.
Sure.
All
Yeah.
right.
So
I just
one
want to
thing
point out that
before
I
we
think
get
I'm
started
picked
here-
to be the high scorer of the week.
Yeah. So I want to point this out. When you look at the scores, I think it's interesting. You know, week one, you know, I think I did my power rankings, and you know, teasing a little too hard here, but it's really hard to figure out week one. Everybody's
Mhm.
healthy. Everybody's got a full lineup. Everybody's got half glass full, right? You're looking at, you know, all their chief receivers look good, but you know they can't all be good. But you know, everything's.
I get burned by this every year too. Like I will say this, and then I'm gonna let you finish.
Yeah.
This is McCole Hardman's been in the league like 4 years.
Yeah.
He's been on my team 4 years at some point. I do this every year. I do it every single year. And you know what? This is the year. I'm doing it again. I'm here.
That's funny. Yeah. So my point was just that the lowest. So Wells is the lowest projected, but he picked up a defense. He hasn't put him in yet. So he's right at the same point. But I think like 127 is the lowest and 134 is the highest projected. So I mean, it's not like, you know, we get in the season and you have injuries and guys are scrambling.
Yeah.
You get those ones that you're projected for 104, and you're going, I hope I can get 104. Like, that might be high. You know, you know that's going to happen. But week one, everybody's projections are so even. It just looks. It's just a good league, and everybody drafted, you know, pretty well. There's no obvious, just like, oh my God, that team's horrible scenarios here. So I think the week one should be fairly interesting competitive wise. So, but anyway, go ahead, preview your game here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't love Jonathan Taylor at Houston. I don't love Derrick Henry at the Giants.
I bet Andy does though.
Right.
You know
so
what
I
else
can
you
see
don't
why
love?
they're both projected for pushing 20.
And you got Russell Wilson going home to Seattle, opening
Russell
Monday
Wilson at
night.
Seattle is interesting. That's interesting to me. On Monday night too. Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Debo is Debo. His team is solid, especially week one. I will say this. Davis Mills in Indiana could be a disaster for him. Josh Jacobs could be a disaster for him.
Is Russell Gage even going to play?
He's questionable as of now.
He was limited today, and Godwin was full. I mean, if Godwin's back and Julio's back,
so
I don't know where Russell Gage even gets balls.
The talk is that Godwin is on a pitch count.
Yeah.
That is the talk. But if he's still playing,
wow, which pitches is he going to take though? The ones where you're throwing the ball.
First off, he's taking whatever pitches that they need him to take to win the game.
Exactly. Yeah. He's going to be off the field when they're running plays with the Fournette.
I'm not disagreeing with you. So, I'm going to take myself because it's week one. I'm not confident in taking myself, but I will say this. I just start at a higher floor with Josh Allen and Justin Herbert. I think that's automatic. I think that's probably pushing 50 between the two of them. I do think Arizona and Kansas City is an absolute shootout, which means James Conner should fall in for one.
Conner's hilarious.
Scary Terry's quarterback proof, and he gets Jacksonville. Keenan Allen is Keenan Allen. You know, I think the one hole I have, Miles Sanders is cleared and healthy. I think he's fine. I think the one hole I have is that wide receiver 3. And really, I'm probably just going to flip a coin between the Kansas City and Arizona game and just hope one of them scores a touchdown. So I think my hole is a little bit less than Andy's hole, and so I'll take myself.
Yeah, I'm gonna go and take you too. I actually think that Andy's team can be better through the year because he has the stars, right? He's got Debo, Henry, Taylor, Russ, like he's got stars.
Yeah.
If he can hit on, you know, the waiver wire wide receiver 3, you know, or if James Robinson turns out to be a guy, or Treylon, you know, as he finds pieces, I think he can actually improve his team once he builds pieces that maybe have a little bit higher ceiling than than what he has in, Boyd and Gage and Jacobs and Davis Mills. I don't like any of those pieces, to be honest. I think you're a little deeper, and I think that your matchups this week are really good. I think that the KC Arizona game, I think it's the highest total for Vegas, and you've got at least 3 pieces in that game. I think Miles Sanders is in a good matchup. Your quarterbacks are in good matchups, and they're just better. And I think Dawson Knox is going to score a touchdown. He signed a big contract this weekend. Josh Allen loves him some Knox, so I'm gonna take you in this matchup.
Look, I will say this, and then we can move on. You don't give a tight end $14 million a year to not throw him the ball.
Yeah,
you get what I'm saying? Like 4 years, 56 or whatever it was, something stupid like that, 53. You don't pay a tight end that to block. You get what I'm saying? So I'll take it. Yeah, I think Andy's really one piece away. I think he's got to figure out. It's really that flex. He's probably 2 pieces away because I think he needs another quarterback, and I think it's that wide receiver 3 flex. I've heard bad things about Josh Jacobs in Vegas, and that kind of worries me for to the point to where they were talking about almost cutting him at.
Yeah,
I've heard really bad things. I hope it works out for Andy, just not anytime soon. Next I got, you're next on my list, so perfect. You and Jordan. So we got
Yeah, so I'll
all right, so hold on 1 second. I just want to point this out.
Okay.
I'm really upset that Sleeper still does win and loss from last year. You ended on a 5-game winning streak before you lost to the.
I did, but I lost in the final, so I'm not sure if that's a regular season streak or because I noticed that too. But I definitely lost in the final, so I'm not exactly sure.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Also, I just want to point out I ended somewhere on a 2-game losing streak, and I missed the playoffs by a game. So there we go. All right, that's wild, right? So I got you and Jordan. Literally, Sleeper has it dead even.
Yep. 0.09 difference.
Yeah, this is tough. You kind of touched on it earlier. I think if this is 2 or 3 weeks down the line, I take you. I think with this being week 1 and everybody being healthy, it's hard not to ride with McCaffrey and Mike Evans, and I think I have to go Jordan. Now, I want to put this disclaimer on here. I'm going with Jordan contingent his quarterbacks combined for the 30 points that they're projected for, which is outrageous. That's wild. He's got 2 quarterbacks he's playing. They're combined for 31 points.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
I think if they get to 31, I like his skill players. I love what he did at the skill positions. But gosh, his quarterbacks are so bad.
I think so. I'm going to pick him too. Maybe it's a little bit of self-deprecating, but when McCaffrey's healthy and rolling, he's the best player by 5 points, And with this guy's healthy and Carson Wentz gets a cupcake matchup with a home versus a bad Jacksonville team. Obviously I'm hopeful, but that we corral Mike Evans in Dallas. I think Pitts Pitts is good. I think the matchups are in play for him to be good this week. I'm going to say he gets me week 1.
Yeah, and I just think it's just bad timing, right? I think if you see him 3 weeks later, then there's a good possibility that there's a good. And you hate to wish injury. I don't want to keep saying this. I don't wish he did fuck me last year, but I don't want to wish him injury.
So I'll give you an example.
It's a thing.
Give you an example, Brandon. Carson Wentz this week is projected for 16.95 points. Okay.
What's he projected for next week?
So 14, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 14, 14, 13, 13, 14. So it's
that's
3 points higher than any projection the rest of the year.
And it's a point 1.9 difference. Yeah.
Freaking Jacksonville.
Yeah, for sure. I will say this: you have a puncher's chance, and I
Sure.
will say
I think I have a chance.
we've talked about it at length, right? The Kansas City Arizona game's an absolute shootout. Let's not forget about the last time the Rams and like Buffalo see each other. I think that's another absolute shootout. As good as those defenses are,
I mean,
think
Cup can outscore McCaffrey. You know what I'm saying?
for
Like,
sure.
he can nullify McCaffrey. Now, I'm not sure I can nullify everywhere else, but I could nullify McCaffrey enough to give my quarterbacks a chance to beat his. I mean,
Look,
it's
the
possible.
Stafford Cup stack is incredible. I think the Buffalo Rams game has a shot to be a shootout as well. You have a puncher's chance in the sense of like, yeah, you got as many bullets as you need. You know what I mean? Now,
I'm going to be up so many points Sunday afternoon because he has Evans Sunday night, Fournette Sunday night, Judy Monday night. I'm going to be up like 40 points.
it's going to be 133 to 86, and you're just going to be holding on for dear life.
Yeah.
That's
watching
always
that
the
Monday
worst
night
feeling
game,
in the world.
just watching Judy catch ball after ball.
Yeah,
Watching
you're
Mike Evans roll
going to
the
be
end
up
zone twice.
Monday night watching Jerry Judy and Russell Wilson's like comeback fest, and you're going to be up 8 points hoping that Jerry Judy doesn't catch that touchdown. It's going to be it's going to be wild. All right, I got Mike and Wells. This is probably the lowest projected matchup of the week. I haven't really looked through it.
It is, yeah.
Definitely is.
Yeah.
127 to 123. Sleeper's got Mike picked.
But
What
Wells
you
does
got?
not have his defense in yet. But
He doesn't have his defense, so it would really be closer to what, 127, 128, somewhere around there.
Yeah, pretty close though. Looking at this matchup, I looked at it a little bit. I'm going to take Wells here. I think that, I don't know what to think about Justin Fields. I mean, that offensive line, the places I've read off the line rankings have the Bears as the worst offensive line. And one thing I read was like, it's not only the worst in the league, it's one of the worst I've ever seen. And
that is a incredible task. And I'm saying that as a Texans fan. We literally got David Carr ran out the league.
Yeah.
That's so wild.
So, he's got two Bears. He's got Komet and he's got Fields, and to be fair, I think Mike's team is better once J.K. Dobbins is healthy, because I think that Dobbins is a stud. I think they're just kind of slow playing him. So if you put a healthy him in, I like his team more. But I don't know what Edmonds is going to do. They have Mostert. They have they still have the running back for the last few years they've had starting there. So they have other running backs there. New England's defense is going to be good again. I have no idea what Melvin Gordon's split is with with Javonte.
Nobody knows. That is one of that one and the one with the Packers is probably the one that's like almost dead 50-50.
Yeah. And not that I love Wells' team this week, but Chase versus Jefferson's a wash. That might be the difference is who plays better there. But I like Moore and Davis consistency than Metcalf and Thomas, and then the Kelsey Komet. I mean, it's projected for 14.6 to 7.8. Would you be surprised if it was 22-4 on that matchup? I mean,
not at all.
I mean, that could be I'm looking at the team and neither guy has a stud quarterback. Kamara's probably the best running back. But Aaron Jones is good too. You're like, what's the difference? Jefferson and Chase, both studs. But Kelsey to Komet to me is just the biggest gap on the board. And that's for that reason I'm going to take Wells here.
Yeah, I mean, I think everything else is fairly even, like you said. I'm intrigued by this matchup, actually, just more so from the standpoint of just I want to see the split in Denver. I want to see the split in Green Bay. They got Aaron Jones at 15 and A.J. Dillon at 10. That's not what I had them both at the end of last year, and that's not what I saw. You know what I mean? Like, it was closer to you got one series, you got the next series type of deal.
And I do wonder if Wells reconsiders here, it starts Ramondre Stevenson or Brandon Ayuk or Devontae Smith or Or Darnell Mooney was the #1 receiver in Chicago. Man, this game, these guys literally.
There's so many Bears. Why are there so many Bears?
I was going to say they're going to be watching the Bears San Fran game, and San Fran's defense is good, and they're going to be looking at each other in the game, going, "We have way between us. We have way."
We're literally the wildest thing that we're talking.
Every good Bears player plays on these two teams.
We haven't even started. We haven't even started. I haven't played a game yet, and we got a matchup with 4 Chicago Bears in it. This isn't waiver wire. This isn't. We are fully healthy, and we are talking about Justin Fields and Kmet and David Montgomery and God knows who else. Like Darnell Mooney. Like, what are we doing?
I don't even know his name. Is it Darnell?
I don't even know his name, and he's their #1 receiver.
He is. This
is ridiculous. I think we're all on that one too. I think we're Wells. I think this one's close.
Very interesting to see. It's interesting.
This one's close. Also, great use of the nicknames, guys. Except for the fact that like Wells, when Mike calls Justin Jefferson the son, you don't have to put the son's daddy. I think you can just put the father. Because just a little redundancy that just wasn't necessary. But you're the funny guy. I'm gonna leave it up to you. It's up to you, but just what I see. I got Reese and I got Barnes. Barnes is one of those other guys. Just at 134. Reese is at 129. Pretty sure Reese got a lot of hate for his team.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of those guys that was in that worst team mix. I didn't hate Reese's team.
I actually don't either.
But I'm pretty sure Barnes won best team in the vote. So
so I'm going to take Barnes for a couple of reasons. One, I think that I don't know if Waller's playing or if he's practiced or what.
He's not on the injury report. That's what I'm reading right
now. I guess
now.
He's going to play. But like he hadn't been in practice. They have Adams now. What does that do? And he's starting Ertz in his flex. I don't love that. I also don't know where Claypool comes in. I don't like his quarterback. They added Pickens. Like I don't know about that either. I just think that there's more depth on Barnes's side. But that being said, I don't dislike Reese's team. When you have Lamar and Kyler, I mean that's legit. Rashad Penny was really good last year at the end of the year. T. Higgins is good. Godwin's good. As Godwin gets healthier, he's going to be better and better. He was probably Brady's favorite receiver last year.
Oh, he was until he got hurt. It wasn't close.
Yeah. And Waller's good. Like Waller, healthy in practice, like full Waller. He's a top 5 tight end. So he's got a lot of pieces here. I just don't know if the pieces are there yet. I don't know if Godwin's going to play. Like you said, pitch count. Is he a decoy? Or is he going to catch 7 balls? I don't know the answer to that. I just think there's a few more question marks right now with Reese's team. And again, Barnes was picked for best team for a reason by a lot of people. And I just think his team's a little bit deeper, a little bit better right now. Matt Ryan, don't love him, but hey, he gets Houston week 1. That's one of the better matchups he's going to get all year. So,
yeah, I'm going to agree on this one. And it's mainly just because like Reese has a couple of holes, and I think I agree. I think it's a time will tell type of thing. I kind of understand playing Zach Ertz in the flex because, like we've been talking about, I think you're taking everything you can out of that Kansas City Arizona game.
Yeah, which is probably.
I could see him flipping that to Van Der Scout to MVS. I could see that.
I like the Valdez-Scantling play over it. I wouldn't be opposed to Devontae Parker play. I think the ceiling is higher for those guys. Ertz could easily catch 4 for 47 and give you 6.5 points. And Valdez-Scantling could go 2 for 20. But Valdez-Scantling could also go 5 for 85 and a touchdown, Yeah. We've seen the big play upside with him. With Mahomes, I mean, there's some unknown, but I mean, it's Mahomes. There's something
Mahomes,
there too.
I think, I don't disagree with you at all. But I think I understand the thought process of you're trying to take as much of that game as possible.
And he's got Kyler. If he gets
and he's got Kyler. So I think
he's
that's
one of those
the
two
other play.
touchdown games to Zach Ertz, man. He is rolling.
I think the play is you're hoping Zach Ertz does go 4 for 45, but one of those is the touchdown. I think that's the play.
And thing is, I like Zach Ertz as a tight end. I think he's a solid. I mean, if I had him instead of Freiermuth, I wouldn't be opposed to it.
He's a solid, like, low end tight end 1, great tight end 2, but that's his floor and his ceiling. There's just no wiggle room with that for him.
That's the issue, and I think I mean, Eli Moore is just a better football player from fantasy for sure than Zach Ertz is at the flex. I mean, Eli Moore could go for 20 in any given week.
No, he's big time. The only thing is with Eli Moore is
Joe Flacco.
It's Joe Flacco.
Elite.
It's Joe Flacco. Like, it is. Joe Flacco couldn't throw when they won a Super Bowl. He damn sure can't 15 years later. Like, so I think there's some. I think as of right now, I'm taking Barnes, but my opinion could change on this. Because I agree there's some moves I think can be made. Like, I'm not sure I'm not playing Devontae Parker over Claypool until I see what that quarterback situation looks like.
Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, I had Claypool. I guess in my other league, I had Claypool last year, and like he was so frustrating. And that's a new quarterback. Like, is the quarterback better? They added other pieces too. Like, I don't know. I have a lot of concerns about that offense.
All right, so I'm going to ask you this question because I think we're both taking Barnes, and I can write that down. Does your feeling on this matchup change if we subbed Devontae Parker for Claypool and we subbed MVS for Ertz?
I think I'm still taking Barnes, but I think Reese's upside to win the matchup would increase for me.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing. I think Reese has some pieces. I think the interesting thing with Reese is like a lot of his back end players are all the same, and so he's going to end up fighting himself. Like, he's got to make the right decision on who to start every week.
Yeah,
because there are some holes because you went high for Lamar and Kyler. Yeah. I'm in a very similar situation, right? Like Rondale Moore or McCole Hardman. It's probably going to be McCole Hardman because, once again, I'm on year 4 of McCole Hardman, and I'm riding this train till them wheels fall off, baby. Let's go, me Cole. You feel me? All right. Next one is the actual champ. Ooh, this might be the lowest projection I've ever seen for him. And Scott Hurley, who was also in that 134 range.
Yep.
First off, great use of the nickname to Maine. Ayu Husker Aaron is incredible. Love the alliteration. Love the nickname using. He gave a nickname to all of his players.
Yep.
Never seen a more dedicated fantasy football GM. But I'm still going to have to go with Scott Hurley. His team is just really good.
Yeah.
His team's better.
His team's really good, man. We've talked through holes, for all these teams, ours included. I don't know that he has a huge hole. Now, obviously, Trevor Lawrence is not a great QB2, but I don't think he's a bad QB2. I mean, I feel better about him than Jordan or Wells' quarterbacks, for example. I think
he's a starting quarterback year long. It doesn't matter how bad he plays.
Yes, and I mean, last year was weird, the whole coaching thing, and they got new coaches in there and stuff. Let's not forget that Trevor Lawrence is 1 year removed from being arguably the best quarterback prospect to come out.
He's a very good
maybe ever, right? I think
it's something like he's like the first or second highest rated quarterback prospect.
Yeah.
Ever.
And I think that Christian Kirk was a big time signing. He's probably their number 1. So if Lawrence hits and he's a top, let's say top 12 quarterback, let's not go crazy, but a top 12, 13 quarterback, Kirk's probably a top 30 receiver. And that's his receiver 4. Bateman's the 1, 2, depending on Andrews, right? You classify that in Baltimore. Thielen is consistent as they come. I think Pittman's a stud. He's got a great matchup. Mixon and Eckler obviously are good. Burrow's good. I think Schultz is the number 2 receiver in Dallas right now until Gallup's back. I think his team's deep. I think it's talented. I don't think he has a massive hole. I think that Tremaine's going to be fine, but I think Hurley's team looks very strong this week.
Yeah, this is a rough matchup. I think the issue for Tremaine is like we don't know what are the Green Bay Packers right now, right?
Yeah,
are they still is that offense dynamic enough to still be able to support a QB1, a wide receiver 1,
yeah,
or RB1, and an RB3? What did AJ Dillon end up something like that, right? Like
yeah.
Without Devontae, is it still now? We may be saying there's no wide receiver 1, but if there's no wide receiver 1, is there a QB1? That's kind of where I'm at there. I just don't like, but honestly, you could flip Derek Carr and Aaron Rodgers and he's still okay, right? Like you're still a QB1 and a QB2 probably in that mix.
The question is right now, is Tremaine the 2013 Dallas Mavericks, right? They ran it back one too many times. They're not bad. Dirk gets you to the playoffs, but he can't get you over any humps. You know what I mean? He's not good enough anymore. Yeah. Vince Carter's too old. They all high five, but they ain't the same team.
Vince Carter played for like 8 more years.
Tyson Chandler went to a new team. JJ Brea signed that deal in Minnesota. Jet Terry left. Like, we're not the same group, but we're just trying to hold on. Is he trying to hold on to that same group a little too tight? I don't know, man.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, yes. The answer is yes. I'm also gonna take Hurley. I will say though, I do think the whole is what are the Jaguars? If the Jaguars offense is good, Hurley's team is really good. If the Jaguars offense is not good, and by that I mean if Trevor Lawrence can't make plays at Christian Kirk,
yeah,
he's kind of shot himself in the foot. I think it's a low risk stack. I don't dislike it by any means, but I think if Christian Kirk isn't, well, we know he's not going to live up to that deal because the deal was stupid as far as money wise. But like if he's not the guy, he's got to be a guy, right? He's not the guy. Then there's a little bit of a hole in with the Bateman Kirk flex wide receiver 3 because we know Lamar can only sustain one receiver, and it's generally Mark Andrews.
Yeah.
Right? It's why they felt like they could trade Hollywood Brown. Like we know that for a fact.
Yeah.
So, that is probably where the hole, I don't want to call it a hole. It's probably more of like a divot. But
it's where his weakness is.
It's where his weakness is that wide receiver 3 flex going into that quarterback is like you're really dependent on some Jaguars, and I haven't been dependent on Jaguars since Byron Leftwich was there.
And to be fair, depending on Jaguars has never proven to be a good fantasy strategy for many years now.
Never, ever. Yeah, so I think that's the one thing. I wouldn't have done it, but I do like his team this week. And last but not least, we have Scott Rogers and we have Jeezy.
The rivalry, Scotty and Jeezy.
I want to start off by speaking personally to Gary. What the fuck were you doing today? You wait until the dude finally gets cleared and then say, nah, fuck it, I'm done. The fuck? I'm floored. Just absolutely floored. The bad part, too, is here's the worst part about it, Jay. Motherfucker's got a whole IR spot. Michael Gallup is not playing.
So that's what I was about to say. Did he not just put Gallup on his IR?
And made the exact same move. He's not right now. But so, you could have literally just put Gallup on the IR, kept James Robinson, and literally picked up whoever the fuck you picked up. I don't even know who you picked up. Yeah,
Garrett, you could have just put him on the IR and picked the guy up. You didn't have to drop Robinson.
And out of all of the people that are on your team, you thought that guy was the guy you should
Who did he pick up?
Who the fuck is Sky Moore?
Wait, he just dropped James Robinson?
He dropped him.
He didn't even pick anybody up.
So he moved Gallup out of the IR? Oh my god, this is even better. This is great. Holy shit.
Yeah, you have to come on, man. You have to explain what just happened.
Hey, bro, we about to put relegation rules in and get Jimmy back in this motherfucker. Because god dang.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, Gallup, yeah. I don't know. Also, for Sky Moore is a second-round pick by the Chiefs, and you never can have enough Chiefs on your team.
Hey, we have been hard Chiefs. I do know who Sky Moore is, but I'm saying if we're going to drop starting running backs, or even like, who knows what he is, because he wasn't a bad running back last year. Like, who knows what he is? Because their other running back hasn't played a single NFL game.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing?
All right, I'm picking Scott.
I'm going to draft the kid that only did kick return duties the last time he played and not draft the guy that was a starting running back.
Yeah, I got to admit, I don't understand the what's going on here.
But also, Garrett, like you, I have never won this league, so don't listen to shit that I'm saying. That's fine. With that being said, I'm taking Scott Rogers just because what the fuck?
Yeah, the sad thing is I actually like I like Garrett's team okay this week, but I don't know what he's doing.
I can't do it. It's principle, Jay. I can't.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal with Rogers' team. Okay, he took both Miami receivers.
Solid.
Are they both going to hit every week, or is he just dropping his floor? And B, his second quarterback right now is Marcus Mariota. Well, your boy Garrett's got 3 quarterbacks, including Tua Tagovailoa.
Who's not playing? Not playing.
He's not starting. He needs to make a trade here because if Scott Rogers is going to double stack the Dolphins, you might as well get Tua because there's no way.
All right. Fantasy GM right now. Fantasy GM, me and you. Yeah. You want to be Scott or you want to be Garrett?
Both hit and Tua not hit.
All right, Fantasy GM, you want to be Scott or you want to be Garrett? First off, I'm gonna be Garrett because that sounds like the most fun in the fucking world.
All right, I'll be Scott.
I'm gonna be Garrett. I have 3. First off, I have 3. I have 3 starting quarterbacks. Garrett can legitimately trade one. I actually don't hate what Garrett did at quarterback, except for the fact that they came out and re-signed Jimmy G. That kind of sucked, but I still think Trey Lance is a starter. I think they write it out. I don't think they start that saga and then fucking kill the kid's confidence. So I agree. Garrett can trade Tua. If you're Scott, what are you offering me?
All right, this is what I'm doing. Okay, I'm looking at your receivers. Renfro's at best a third option now. Amari Cooper is catching balls from somebody named Jacoby Brissett.
First off, don't act like you don't know who Jacoby Brissett is.
Okay, fine. I know who Jacoby Brissett is. He's not good. That's what I know.
No, the people in Cleveland may not know who he is, but you for sure know.
They're actually going to the game thinking Deshaun Watson's playing quarterback. They don't even know who the quarterback is in Cleveland.
All black people look alike.
Your fourth receiver is probably your second, which is Alan Lazard. So I'm seeing a hole there. I don't have very good receivers on Scott either, but you know what? I'm making a deal with Marquise Brown because Hopkins is coming back. So I'm convincing you that Marquise Brown's a number 1 for the next 6 weeks at the very least. I'm giving you Marquise Brown. I'm taking back Tua, and I want Hunter Renfrow back to give me a floor receiver. Ooh. You're never playing Hunter Renfrow now because Marquise Brown's playing there. You're never playing Tua Tagovailoa because you're playing Lance and Brady. So you're upgrading your receiver spot and losing 2 guys that you don't even miss.
So I like this. I accept this. And if I'm Garrett, I accept this. And here's why. Because I have Michael Gallup just sitting there waiting. He's just waiting.
Yeah.
So I got 6 weeks of Marquise Brown. Then I get Michael Gallup in. And Michael Gallup with no Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup has a clear-cut role in what he is with the Cowboys, right?
Mm-hmm.
I accept that deal, and I don't hesitate. Because for me, I get a receiver. I get a starter for a guy that's not playing right now. You know what I mean? I get off that extra quarterback. Both of us win. I might get fucked up this week, but I agree. There's no way Tua. First off, Tua can't throw to one of them, let alone both of them.
And that's honestly, the thing. If you don't believe in Tua, if you're Scott, then you don't believe in your 2 receivers you got.
The ball's probably going to land in the middle of them. Have you seen the best thing the Dolphins have done is like all preseason when Tua throws a ball, they don't actually show the ball. They just show the receiver go get it because he underthrows them every time.
And if you're Scott, I think you can play Renfro in your other wide receiver spot. I actually think Nico Collins is pretty good. You can hopefully find a waiver guy to fill in your flex, but you upgrade a quarterback for 4 weeks from now when Atlanta is 0-4 and they go to the Desmond Ridder kid they drafted in the 3rd round instead of Mariota. Because
I also think like, yeah, I'm starting Tua until this shit blows up in my face, and then I got to get off one of these receivers anyway, right? Like,
well, the flip side
if Tua doesn't play well, these receivers don't play well.
Yeah, you're trading one of the receivers thing if you're Scott. If you don't, but if you're not buying the Tua thing, Tyreek and Waddle can't both get where you need to go. So you got to try to convince somebody to take one of these guys and get another receiver, a QB2. I mean, Mariota, I could be wrong, but I don't think Mariota is starting all year long because they're going to be bad. And at some point, Atlanta needs to see if Desmond Ridder's good so they can decide if they need to draft a quarterback or if they have their quarterback. They got to make that decision halfway through the year when they're 2-7.
Oh, I don't disagree with that. And this is for Garrett, this is basically Marquise Brown for Hunter Renfrow because at this point you're only going to play 2 of 1 week. Right?
The only risk is if Lance really sucks and they go to Garoppolo.
But if that's the case, put Michael Gallup on the IR and go get Garoppolo.
Yeah, that's true.
So you get what I'm saying?
Honestly, I think San Fran is moving forward with Lance. I think they know that's where they have to go.
Well, you don't and that's what I was saying is like you don't start this saga to pull the kid. You drafted him.
Yeah,
this is his second year in the league, and this is his first. It's the same. It's the same thing they did with Alex Smith and Pat Mahomes, right? Like, yeah, let the kid sit a year, but like once we make the move, we're making the move. Like, I don't think he may struggle throwing the ball, but I don't think it's not like Jimmy G was throwing the ball for 300 yards a game. Like, I think the style they play, he'll always be able to play because they can always triple option him or do whatever.
Yeah.
And they're always going to try to control the clock anyway. I don't think there's any way he doesn't start all year outside of injury.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're not picking Garrett out of principle, I think is more so what happened. Even though I agree, Tua and Renfro for Marquise Brown, make it happen and make this week interesting. Actually, I don't think this week would be interesting. I think Tua is actually going to start really well, and then it's going to be like when he gets that random fucking pinky injury and he can't throw the ball past 36 yards because it's Tua, and that's what happens.
Yeah.
All right, man. Episode 2, Scott Hurley, leave us alone. All right. I didn't even mention how your team was white with a capital H until right now. So you should be happy. All right. Power rankings are done. We will not do them here. You have to go to the A-League UTD.
The Premier League, baby.
The A-League. Make sure it is the A-League UTD. Premier. All right. Vocab matters. As always, I hope you enjoy it. And we'll holler at y'all next week.
See you guys.